pass on to Democratic Services just to go through the housekeeping arrangements for this morning.
Thank you, Chair. In the event of the fire alarm sounding, please take instruction from staff and stewards. The assembly point is at Tudor Square. Please can I request everyone to switch the mobile phone devices to silent mode so as to not disturb the conduct of the meeting. The meeting today will be webcast and the recording will also be available for people to view later through the Council's website. It is also possible that Sheffield Live TV will record and rebroadcast this meeting. While ever the meeting is open to the public, photography, video and sound recording of the proceedings is permitted. However, the Chair has discretion to withdraw or suspend this permission, for example, if the recording is disrupting the conduct of the meeting or is being undertaken in a manner which could capture personal information, or in the event that a member of the public participating in a meeting object to it being recorded. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Claire. Do we have any apologies for absence? We are a member down, but Karen has thankfully stepped in.
Is there anybody apologies now?
Would anyone like to declare any interests in any items on today's agenda? If there are no declarations of interest, then we'll just do some introductions. I am still David Barker. I'm still chairing the subcommittee this morning. I am flanked by the members of the committee. Would you like to introduce yourselves, please?
Councillor Karen McGowan.
Councillor Henry Nottage.
And you will see a number of other people in the room who are the officers of the council that are working with us this morning. Would you like to introduce yourselves, please?
Morning, Samantha Bond, Legal Advisor to the subcommittee.
Good morning, I'm Jane Goff from Licensing. I'm here to read the report.
And I'm Claire from Democratic Services. I'm just taking the minutes.
Thank you, everyone. And could I just ask you just to confirm your names as well, please, just for the record. So, if you'd like to start.
I'm Rosemary Henry.
I'm Peter Price, representative of the UCAL Enterprise.
Well, good morning and welcome everyone again. You are very welcome here this morning. There is a set procedure for these hearings, which is in the papers that you will have received, and you'll be pleased to know that you don't have to listen to me reading it out, because at point 4 of there, it says the solicitor to the committee will outline the procedure. So, Sam, could you outline the procedure, please?
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure it's much better me doing it, but we'll see how we do. Has everyone got a copy of the papers that they want to? It's sometimes easier if you have a hard copy if you want to follow them. Oh, we can pop some round for you. While I find the procedure. Okay, so the procedure's right at the back of the pack on page 51. So the licensing officer, who's Jane this morning, will introduce the report. Any questions concerning the report can be asked by members and the applicant, so if there's anything inaccurate or missing, so we can get that amended for the minutes. We haven't got any responsible authorities present. Conditions have been agreed with the applicant and they're all listed in the report. So what we'll do, we'll head straight over to Ms Henry first, just to detail your representation, sort of as in the report, explain why you're objecting to the application. Members and officers may have some questions for you, and with the leave of the chair, the applicant may also be able to ask you questions as well. Once we've done with that, we'll head over to the applicant to detail their application, provide clarification on the application and respond to representations made, so both in the report pack and at the hearing here today. Again, members and officers can ask the applicant question, and with the leave of the chair, you could ask the applicant questions as well. The applicant will then be given the opportunity to sum up the application. We'll take the options from the licensing officer as detailed in the report, and then we'll just go into a private session so that members can take legal advice and consider the application. So we'll just ask you to wait outside. You can either hang around for the decision or we can notify you in writing afterwards, but we'll be making it immediately after the hearing today. The decision of the licensing committee will be given in accordance with the requirements of the Licensing Act 2003 and regulations made thereunder. At any time during the hearing, members can request legal advice, so that can be in open session as we are now, where we'll just have an open discussion, or in closed session where we just ask you guys to pop into the room next door. We'll have a discussion, invite you back in and let you know what was discussed and what the outcome was. And as has already been said, the hearing is in public this morning, and it is being live webcast unless the chair determines that the public should be excluded at any point and the recording stopped, but we'll cross that bridge if and when we come to it. So it sounds more complicated than it is, but hopefully we'll get through it. It should be fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. So could we have the report, please, then, Jane?
You certainly can. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. So the hearing this morning is to determine the grant application made under Section 17 of the Licensing Act by UKAL Enterprises Limited. Originally, the application was received by the licensing service on the 30th of November, but there was some issues with the advertisements as it wasn't advertised correctly. So later, by the 4th of January, we had the application deemed valid and fully advertised as normal. So we've come to a committee today because we've got one outstanding objection from a local resident who's here today. And throughout the licensing consultation period, we've had agreed conditions with the Environmental Protection Service and South Yorkshire Police, as well as agreeing reduced operating hours as well, as part of those agreements, which you can find at Appendix C of this report, if you want to see those details there. Everybody's been invited this morning, so all the hearing notices are in Appendix D of the report, and the policies for consideration this morning are the Sheffield City Council Statement of Licensing Policy and the revised guidance under Section 182 of the Licensing Act. Chair, if you don't mind, I'm going to scoot down to Section 8, save you reading all that information, which is the appeals section. So the Licensing Act 2003, Section 181 and Schedule 5 makes provision for appeals to be made by the applicant and those making representations against the decision of the licensing authority to the Magistrates' Court. So the recommendations this morning, Chair, are that members carefully consider the representations made and take such steps as the subcommittee consider appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Have members got any questions regarding the report at all? Do you have any questions regarding the report?
Thank you. Can I just clarify with you guys, are you serving hot food and drink after 11? Is that the intention, or will it cease at 11?
There's no,
Sorry, just push your... There we go. Thank you.
we was considering, but we put it on further delay to see if we're gonna serve hot drink after a certain amount of time, cause, but now it's just from 10 in the morning till 12 o'clock, I think, or 11 o'clock, something like that. I think it's 11 o'clock. No, it's like a takeaway restaurant. So you got so it's not basically serving in the premises like somebody going to come and dine in the premises. It's mostly takeaway. You see, so we got.
Okay, the only reason I'm asking, because you've only applied for an alcohol licence.
Yeah.
So if you want to serve hot food or drink after 11,
Yeah.
you've not applied for that. So
Yeah,
you could only do it
we
until 11.
know that.
Oh, right, okay. I was just double
That's what I was
checking.
saying. We put it out till further notice.
Right,
then
okay.
we can go and apply for that one.
Lovely. I just wanted to check, obviously, because you're opening a little bit after
Yeah.
11 p.m. So
Okay.
if it's stopping then, that's cool with me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for that clarity. If there are no further questions on the report, then it's over to you as an interested party to tell us your objections to this application and just state your case to us, and you have as long as you wish to do that.
I think it's too late. Like all of the food places that are not scabby takeaways, they all close. You know, they're all like finished by 11. So if it was actually like a Class A food restaurant place, then it would close at a similar time than every other like decent restaurant that's on London Road. So like I don't feel like that it is actually like a food classy place is its main priority. I think that it's if it's open as like a pub, it's still going to be open later than all of the other pubs, like on London Road, apart from Barry's, but I don't even know how that's got a licence still. But like, because it's winter, he's closed, and so he's quiet. But I don't want, you know, like there's a load of trouble and aggro and all sorts of stuff and people fighting and where I live in my building, because like one side of London Road, you know, like the actual road, I don't know if you know London Road, but I'm assuming you do, but there's like restaurants and pubs, but like on the top there's like houses, and then like behind it it's like it's just an estate. Like, so there's loads and loads of people, and people get drunk and wasted and all sorts, and then they come through the estate, and then like there's loads of aggro and trouble, and like I left my house on Saturday morning, and there's 2 people have been critically stabbed like outside my house. They'd shut the estate off, and it had happened in the night. It's rough, and I don't think having, you know, like if having places open later serving spirits, which everyone, you know, like bottomless brunch, like people get wasted, like cocktails are lethal anyway, you know, I'm sure you've all had a cocktail at one point in your life, like, you know, you have one and you think like, oh, I'm all right, and then you have another one and then you're like, well, you're gone, aren't you? Like, so I think, and for people to get that wasted and then like walk through to the estate or walk through into town or whatever, and then like it's just not a nice place, and where they make loads of noise and they make loads of mess. And I have started with the Tara, you know, like a litter pick. So we go around the estate and pick up rubbish that people have left and stuff like that. And there's so much, you know, like after like the weekend and stuff like that, there's so much litter and rubbish and all sorts of stuff, and broken glass from bottles where people like been drinking and just lobbed it, and I just like, I don't think that it'll benefit the people who live there and are around there at all to have it. I think that it'd be, you know, like if it was open, like closed a little bit earlier, and then so it was like in keeping with others. I think some of the other pubs there, I can't remember, I had a look. I think it was one, all the doors were locked, was the latest. I can't actually remember though. You know, so even if it is just like a slight, like I don't think incrementally going a little bit later is going to be of any benefit. So even if it was pushed back a little bit, like I think that would be a benefit. Like I obviously have, you know, like it's a really popular food and drink place. Like I understand, I'm not an idiot. Like people are going to want to go to the pub and have a drink and have a nice time and whatever, crack on, let them to it. But I don't want all the aggro, and they make loads of noise, and like I've got a small child, and I don't want people gobbing off and shouting and arguing and fighting, and like honestly, everybody in my building absolutely detests Barry's because of all the problems we have with Barry's and all the nuisance and all that lot. And I've personally had to phone the police numerous occasions because of fighting outside, because people are drunk and coming back and all sorts of stuff. So there's, I feel a bit nervous. I'm not had to sit like, but I've rambled. But I think that's ish what I wanted to say.
No, thank you. That's very clear and very helpful. I'll open this up to questions then now, if that's okay. So, Karen, is there anything you'd like to ask at this stage?
Yeah, I'd just like to start off by saying well done. It's intimidating coming into an area like this and making it all official, so well done for coming anyway. And you did really well. And one thing I just wanted to establish, whereabouts do you live compared, are you living in the estate or over...
Right,
or next?
you can see the barrel from my living room window. Like
You're in the estate behind? London Road.
I live bang across the road from the barrel.
Right, okay, right, thank you. And did you say every other pub on London Road closes at 11?
No, not every other pub closes at 11. The times that I gave is my ideal because I like sleep.
Okay. So what I'm trying to get to is, I know you've got a problem with another establishment that you've mentioned, and if there are other ones open, I'm just trying to get my head round why this one shouldn't, because if all the issues are with another one,
Because I've only actually just realised that you can contest a licence. I didn't know that you could contest a licence, but I will be discussing further with other tenants in my building about barriers, because I know that a significant number of residents also have problems with barriers and the clientele.
but going back, sorry to interrupt, but just going back to what you were saying, I know we're not here to listen to about that establishment, yeah. But so I'm trying to establish that we've got other venues.
What's my issue with this one?
Sorry?
What's my issue with this one?
No, I'm just trying to establish London Road.
Yes.
I know you're saying that you've got a problem, we'll name it as barriers, but we're not here to discuss barriers, but I'm saying, but there's other venues open that you haven't mentioned. I'm presuming there's other venues open on London Road that are open later that you haven't mentioned, that probably, because you haven't mentioned them, aren't causing an issue, and I'm just trying to establish why you think this one will.
Because this one will be open later. So if they're all like open and closed at like the same time, then you know, like it's just an acceptable evil. But this one is open or applying to be open later, so that it's not just like there's a cut-off point. There's a cut-off point, and then there'll be like another cut-off point. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I just think that there needs to be, residents need like an acceptable, like this is the end sort of time, as opposed to one being open later than the other, or do you know what I mean? Okay. So if they're all closed, then there's no.
Okay, I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Does that make sense to the answer? Okay.
So thanks for coming here and delivering objection. As Karen said, you've done a really good job of it. It's not the easiest thing to do. And thanks for organising a Lit the Pigs, very community spirited. As much as this isn't a hearing about Barry's, I looked on the public register to check Barry's licence and couldn't see it listed. And Google has their opening hours at 8 p.m, which sounds wrong.
It's because it's winter. Like in summer, like in winter, nobody wants to go outside and be late, right? But in summer, he's open well late, and it's just a nightmare.
Yeah. How long have you lived in that building?
Like 20 years, a long time.
So you were living there for a lot of time when it was open as the pub.
Barry's, yeah.
No, not Barry's. The Three
the
Barrels.
Barrel.
Yeah, the Barrel.
Yeah.
And when it closed, about a year ago, did the problems diminish because it wasn't a venue?
Well, I don't know, because there's dickheads from all over. Do you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is, if there's more places, then there's going to be a higher concentration. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, there's always going to be people behaving badly and all that lot. Like, it's a rough area. Like, it's just what happens. But I just don't think that having it open later, where people get more drink, open later, and then coming back through, I just don't think.
Yeah. I think that's. Yes, please. Yeah.
Are we on? There we are, right. Yeah, so the opening hours for Barry's Bar, well, supply of alcohol finishes at 1:30 Monday to Thursday and 3:30 Friday, Saturday. So the closing hours are 2 and 4. So they are late hours for Barry's Bar. Okay.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you. You said some of this, but I just wonder if you could give me a bit more detail about the sort of problems you're experiencing at the moment from other establishments and how regularly this is happening. So how often are you getting incidents? How often are you getting disturbed?
Well, like at the moment, because it's his winter hours at the moment, so they're not open. But in summer, like it's just a nightmare. Like, because there's people shouting, because they've got door staff on the front of the building, but the door staff just ignore the back. So when you know, like they've got a beer garden, so people, they obviously get the drink, go dancing, whatever, come outside for a fag. But there's people shouting. There's, like, I've had to phone the police before because people were shouting, he's got a knife, he's got a knife, he's going to get stabbed. There was one guy, like, I phoned the police because he was getting beaten with a chair and he had to get carried off by his friends. There's like, honestly, there's so much stuff, and there's people, there was one, it was like live action Jeremy Kyle. Some pregnant girl had found her boyfriend shagging a mate in the toilet, and like it was all kicking off outside, and you know, like, again, but it's regular and it's routine, and there's lots of shouting, and then when people come back, because obviously, like, he doesn't clear the beer garden, like, he just closes the doors and then that's it. But people stay, people finish their drinks, people fart around, people, they come back and they're shouting and they're underneath the window and they're gobbing off and just all sorts of stuff. And it's like, you can't have your windows open in the summer, and the house is like a hot box, and it's awful. And even then, even when you've got your windows closed, it still wakes up my child, and I hate him. Like, you know, like, it's not a personal thing for Barry or whatever, like, I've no beef with Barry, but I don't like the pub.
And where there have been sort of incidents of criminality, you've reported these to the police. But
I've reported several incidences to the police, yeah.
And what has their response been? Have you found
The police, they never get back to you. They never do anything. I even phoned the fire brigade once because he was setting, like, he had a plastic shelter roof thing, and he'd set, you know, like a barrel, and he'd put a fire underneath it, and it was melting it, and like all the fumes were coming into my house. Like I saw the firemen turn up, but you know, so I know that they responded. But the police, you know, like, it's Friday, Saturday night, they're going to do nothing.
And just to clarify, I think you were saying that you weren't actually aware of the licensing laws and how to pursue sort of issues up to see this application.
I only found out that I could with this. Otherwise, I would have objected to Barry's a long time ago.
And just clarify, what hours ideally would you wish to see this establishment operating?
Which one, Barry's or the barrel? I'd have said like in Rosie Dreamworld, I think, like, for a pub in a local area, I think it should be like last order's at 11, gone by 11:30. That's my ideal, but I understand that it's not necessarily realistic. But I just think it should be more in line with the others. The others, I think some of them are like, I think there's one of them like closes at midnight. One of them, I think it's 12:30 or 1 or something. But, you know, like, even so, it's not like a huge reduction or whatever. Like, I still think if it was brought down and in keeping with like the others, then it's just like an end, isn't it? It's just like a deadline, and then everybody goes, and then people can go home like at a reasonable time, or they can decide if they want to crack on drinking or whatever. They can go into town where there's safety in numbers and it's not on my doorstep.
No, thank you. That's helpful. Sam, is there anything you'd like to ask?
Just briefly, I think you said about other residents that hate sort of Barry's and the noise associated with other premises. Have you discussed this application with any of the other residents at all?
No, I haven't. I realised, I said on the way upstairs, she asked if there was anybody else, and I said, like, it had occurred to me this morning, like, I've not actually spoken to...
And I assume they've, with the other premises, experienced the same sort of problem, so it's sort of the noise, the litter...
Yeah, we're all in the same building, so we all, like, experience the same.
And I know you said about the winter hours, but in the summer, is it every weekend or every night, or...?
It's mainly the weekends with Barry's.
Okay. That's fine for me, thank you.
Right. Before you have the opportunity to respond and detail your application, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask the interested parties?
Yes, got a couple of questions. The Stock, that's the pub next door, that closes at 5 a.m. And which one's the other one?
So you have an next pub up the road that
There's a pub up the road that closes at 1
o'clock.
a.m. Yeah.
And the Stock that open until 5. Bar is open until 4.
Yeah. So you were saying that to keep in line with the others, but we actually close
Earlier
than all the others.
you see. And we spoke to the resident, and all of the resident them welcome. Who we spoke to, welcome. They come over all the time. When the pub is going to open, when it's going to open, we welcome back. The local community is welcoming back to see the place refurbished and getting open.
As a new establishment.
As a new establishment.
So I know
Well, are they
that
ones that live right next door,
Yeah,
or are they
I got-
ones that
I-
live like a little bit away?
I
so they
even
don't
know
have to
people
deal
live.
with it?
I know people living in the building behind, because I go myself just when you put out this to object the license. We went there to ask the resident how they feel and what the problem caused by our establishment. Because if you look where this establishment is, you got a storage unit in front of it, you got a vet unit in front of it. The resident is way across the building, is way across from it, not in front of the establishment.
Sorry, did you say that you live across the establishment or behind barriers?
She said she was
I live behind barrels, but
in one of the,
barriers.
I can see the barrel from my living room window. Like,
yeah, because it's a high-rise
Yeah.
building.
yeah, but I'm on one of the low floors, so like,
Fair enough.
We,
Well,
I mean, from my house, I can see city centre, but you know what's happening down there can't really affect me because that's just a vision. That's what you can see. But like with noise and stuff, I know you mentioned in the first application about inside the first objection about the noise from barriers. We've got lots of things put in place
Yeah, but
to stop you from stop residents from being affected
I
by
saw
noise.
when the license did, like the second thing when the hours had been reduced, I'd seen all the conditions about the noise and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and I was satisfied, and I didn't bring that up again.
Yeah, so we've put loads of things in place to avoid, things like this. But you said about scabby takeaways. Can you just clarify what your idea of a scabby takeaway is, just so I understand?
It's like kebab shops and
Kebab
like,
shop.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Right.
Like what people go to when they're really, really blabbered on the way home.
Okay, you said that was open later than any other pubs, but as I said, that would actually be closing a lot earlier than the other pubs. You said that the people come through the estate. Did they come through the estate to go somewhere, or do they live in that estate?
I don't know. I don't have a clipboard with a survey.
Right. Okay. Because is there a lead? To get through your estate, does it lead to somewhere? Going through the back of barriers.
Yeah, like you go behind barriers. You've got like town that way. You go through that alleyway, and then next to Harrison's cameras, there's a cut through when you go into the estate. You go up. There's loads of places. You just like cut through from pretty much across from the barrel. You cut through, and then like it's just the whole estate, and then you've got like town that way. You've got Nottage that way.
Right. So assuming that they live in the estate, I think that would be fair.
Well, I have no idea where they live.
Mm.
But where they live isn't really important if they're just making loads of noise and
What I was
stuff
trying to
on their way
establish
get
is
there.
if they, having us open there was not going to make a difference to the people that live in the estate that are creating the problems. The problems are there because, well, of their behaviour.
Well, then
And their
having more
behaviours won't be
places-
affected by us being open. We're trying to, the clientele that you mentioned that go to barriers, we're not trying to attract that type of clientele. It's, we'll be bringing in fresh faces, fresh people, and they might actually be decent people and maybe, help make the area not look so, what was the word you used? Rough.
I just don't think having drinking establishments is going to make an area nicer to look at or have a better quality of people like drunk walking home.
Yeah. You mentioned as well that that the crime hasn't gone up or down since that wasn't it? That used to be a pub with, was it footballers and stuff? Yeah, which, you know, if I'm going to be stereotypical,
I grant you, like the barrel before, like I'd never gone in, but I had an ex-partner who went there and some guy pulled a meat cleaver on him. Like I grant you, you'd have to be a pretty dive bar to go anywhere. So I'm sure it is like an improvement, but I still think it's another drinking establishment. And I just, you know, like a higher concentration of drinking establishment, the more people there are going to get drunk.
so you said as well that that, well, in here, I think you said something towards the lines of everybody else in your building has a problem with, you know, the pubs being open and clubs and etc. Is that correct?
Well, it's mainly because of the late license of Barry's. I didn't know the one had like a 5 a.m. license or whatever. I assume mainly because they're not having so much music, whereas Barry's has got the music. So maybe some of the aggro from Barry's, I've just assumed from the other place is. I've just assumed it was from Barry's because Barry's is the one that's making all the noise.
Right.
But
So you think
either way,
music causes the problems and not the alcohol?
yeah, but that's drawn my attention as that's the one that's open late. Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. Like if one's really quiet but it's got 5 a.m. license and one's really noisy with a 5 a.m. license, I'm going to assume that all the people who come this way past my house, I'm going to assume they're all from here because this one's making loads and loads of noise,
Right.
and are not. You know, like I don't do a survey of which pub have you actually come from. I just know that there's clearly drinking super late, and well, not you, but you're making loads of noise.
So it could be that they've been into town and come through. Then it doesn't have to be from Barry's or anywhere else on London Road.
Yeah, they are like a lot of them anyway are coming from Barry's.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said that you didn't do a survey, so you didn't know where they came from.
No, but I can see Barry's, and I can see, if I look out my window, I can just see them all. I can see the beer garden, I can see them fighting on the back, I can see them coming, I can listen to them coming back from underneath my window.
So I want to say something. If there was so much problem,
Sorry. I've not finished.
Oh, I'm on.
No, sorry,
I think what might be helpful at this stage is after you just go through and detail your application, tell us what you're trying to achieve at this premises, how you're going to run it, how hopefully you're going to prevent these problems. So, and then obviously you'll have the opportunity to have a two-way dialogue after that, but I think it might be helpful if you go through that at this stage, and we'll see where we are then.
So there's been lots of things that have been, you know, organisations and stuff that we've been trying to, you know, that we're going to be working with. So the police will be one of them. We'll just keep in touch with the police, let them, you know, keep logs of everything that's going on. Everything that's been put on we've been given a list of guidelines to follow, and it's an extensive list as well. Staff need to be trained. You know, we did everything. Yes, we've got security, and there'll be security from out of town as well, not the local securities that know all the, you know, the people that are, you know, and oh yeah, just let them in. No, yeah, so their names won't mean anything to these security people because they don't know them. Yeah, so all these little tiny little things, you know, we've looked at in detail to make sure that we don't have any problems. Once they've left the venue, we have no control over what happens then, but we do. We promote responsible drinking, so there'll be no happy hour, you know, five beers for £3, you know, anything ridiculous that's going to encourage people to just guzzle and drink. Our closing hours are quite early as well. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add? We have limiters on the music. We've got.
as we say, we work with the police because when they come, they tell us the list of stuff, how we can prevent it, like people fighting, all of that. As soon as they leave, we have a security that tell them to leave the premises and stuff like that. And most of the people, when you finish at 1, they're going to look elsewhere to go. They're not going to stay outside and fighting because it closed early, so they're going to look somewhere else to go. They're going to go in town, or who's going to go home? They're not going to go across the road to the block of flat or whatever over there to argue and make noise. You understand? They're going to go home and try to find somewhere else to go, like town. Town open till later, till 5 in the morning. People are going to look elsewhere to go. So, as I say, we put a lot of work and trying to help the local community to grow. Not to say we're hoping an establishment to just sell booze. We want to work with the local community.
There's also a dress code as well.
And
So there'll be no hoodies
see,
and, you know.
because
nothing
when you
like
look
that.
on London Road is one of the busiest road for food and drink away from Ecclesall Road. Ecclesall Road open until, say, 2:30 in the morning. And that classify almost uptown residential area more than even London Road. But these places close late hours, 2:30 as well. Not just, you see, and you don't have this problem. What she's describing. So if it's the booze was creating all of these problems, you see, and late hours, Ecclesall Road would have come out one of the most dangerous roads in Sheffield because there's a lot of establishment open there, you see. So when I look on it, it's unfair. We say basically we're open until 1:30 in the morning, and it causing aggro in the area, you see, when there's a lot of busy road, like in town. Yeah, you know town is Ecclesall Road, similar. London Road for food and drink, open until 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning is food and drink. So it's not the people them that are coming from Barry's, where she claim, or our place going to be the problem. People coming from different places to get food and drink. So they argue. I go there and I sit on London Road just to see what's going on for myself. You see, how disturbing, like, how a place would be to the road. You see, and Barry's and everybody. I look on it myself.
Yeah, I was there last night. Barry's was
Is
open.
people coming from out, like in town, people coming from town to get food. We see they're shouting, they're going on. But it's not people saying coming from Barry's all the time gonna fight and make noise. People, because London, as I say, London Road, when town finish, that's where people come in to get food. You see, because there's a lot of takeaway shop there.
But there's also a lot of taxis and stuff like that, so they get it.
Sorry, if they didn't interrupt you when you did theirs, if you let them
You see.
sort of state the case, you can come back and ask questions after.
Yeah, so these are the main. I kind of understand where she's coming from. I understand her concern. I'm not going to say no, because you live in a neighborhood you want to see. But if more establishment can come and build the neighborhood from a rough neighborhood, as she classify, you see, and turn it into something better, then that's what you want to see. You see, we don't want no fighting and all of that is going on. We just want to have something that people can come spend a good time, have a nice meal, have a drink, and go home. Enjoy themselves and go home.
We can't afford to have people coming to the venue and creating problems, because we'll be shut down in a minute. You know, it'll just take just like that. You know, like everything that is being put into it would be gone. So there's lots at stake for you know, for the company. So they have to, everything has to be, you know, on point, and just to make sure that we follow all the guidelines that have been set to try and prevent anything that what you've experienced before happen again.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, that's again helpful. I'll open this up to questions then now, and you will have the chance to come back at the end anyway and sum up your application if there's anything you've missed. And if you like me and suddenly think, oh, why didn't I say that, then you will have that chance. So, Henry, is there anything you'd like to ask at this stage?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So it's described as a bar and grill. How do you see the sort of split between people that are just coming in for a quick drink or people that are coming in for a drink and food? How do you see that sort of ratio?
It's, as I say earlier on, it's mostly like a takeaway, like people picking up food, because we stopped serving food at certain time, but people were picking up food from the back of the premises more than one at the front. So it's mostly just pick up and go, not sitting like a sitting restaurant where people sit down and eat. You see,
So you mainly see the people that are sitting in as your alcohol customers.
most likely, yeah.
And secondly, the hours that have been agreed with the South Yorkshire Police.
Yeah.
Are you happy with those
Yeah.
hours? And there's no mention of the non-standard timings in the agreed hours with the police.
Because what the police have recommended said basically, once we establish that we can be responsible, they will look into further, you see, so we can come back and they will further recommend the time that we can open, you see.
Yeah.
So they say, once you be responsible with the time that we recommend, then we can look in further. And that's why everybody agreed with the council, and everybody agreed to that thing. So once we establish that type of thing, then we can look into it.
And that's it from me, Chair.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wondered, is this the first time you've opened an establishment like this? Is this your first restaurant grill?
Yes.
First one. So you haven't got any others anywhere? Right, okay, thank you. And what kind of food is it? Because
it's like a Caribbean, English style food. So it's mostly like Caribbean, like jerk chicken, rice and peas, etc. English menu as well as Jamaican menu on it.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Thanks.
I keep crossing my questions off as my colleagues ask them, which is always a good thing. I just wonder, what was attractive about this premises? Why the barrel, and why London Road?
London Road is one of the busiest main road. I never know the barrel got so much issue when the company take it on. We didn't know there's a lot of issue. But further now, people start telling us what the issue was with the whole area. You understand? So we never know it's a football, etc.
And just know it was a busy road.
It's just a busy road where we think,
it's a main
yes,
road.
it's a nice road to like Ecclesall Road, where it's vibrant. It's a vibrant community with, you got different takeaways, different food. You have the bars and stuff like that. So it's a nice place to come at and have a drink and have a meal. So that's why we take on.
And it's close to town as well. Yeah, good public transport. Yeah.
And you mentioned that you have consulted with local residents and consulted with police and various organisations. How do you see that communication going forward? Particularly, this lady said she's looking at potentially setting up a tenants group. How would you link into those going forward, and just ensuring that your venue is part of the community?
We welcome.
We could invite you. We could actually discuss something. And try and stay in touch and with any other tenants that you've got that are opposed to the opening of the venue, and see how we can work together and make things desirable.
Can I just
For your
clarify?
child.
It's not actually
And
the
your
opening of the venue that I object to. It's the hours. Like I just don't want places that open so late that people are getting drunk. I actually don't have a problem with there being a pub on London Road. It's
Just the hours alone.
yeah, the longer it's open, the longer people drink, the more wasted they get, the more aggro there is. It's like a simple formula. Do you know what I mean? But I know there's pubs on there. I've lived there long enough to know that there's pubs on there.
Yeah, and all of them are open a lot longer than ours.
Not all of them.
But they roughly open in the same time, because there's about 3, 4. Say Barry is about 5 pub in the same area, like maybe a half a mile radius. So it's about 5 because you have the football pub. So it's about 10 in the half a mile radius. Then 10 pubs in the half.
All closed before you do.
Yeah, and basically all of these pubs are opening roughly the same time scale of us. Because that's why the police said, all right, we recommend these time because all of these establishments open in the same time scale, the same time frame.
And just finally from me, so if I was a local resident and your establishment was open and I noticed an issue, it was causing me a problem, how would I raise that with you? Would there be an easy way for me to get in touch and get something done about that?
As I say, they can come and speak to our management team. They can, because we normally got numbers in the pub where they can come. They can come and speak to anybody in the establishment. You see, then we will sit down and have a meeting with the local resident to know basically what the issue and what's going on, why they have so much concern and all of that. So there's that we can put in place, you see, with the local resident. Because some of the local residents, I know them. You see, I know some of the local residents, even across the road where she stated she lives. I know local resident over there. You see, so and they come to me, they say to me, it's a good thing, you're getting this place renovated, it's looking vibrant, everything is a nice place, you see. So we spoke to them and they never come to us with an issue or concern of the time, because everybody is there to see the time that was displayed on the notice. And no one else ever come to us and say, we oppose, or we don't like the time that you're opening.
But if there was an issue and you wanted to raise an issue, you could come. You could come in and raise the issue. Management team were looking for somebody who's over 35, who's been in the industry for at least 15 years, that understand, that they've been managed pubs, so they've got a good, because obviously it's new to it. Somebody who knows everything, just about, so, and then there'll be group meetings, team leader meetings, where we can look at issues, what's being raised by, from the locals, how we're gonna target that, deal with that issue, so, stop it from happening again, etc. There'll be regular meetings as well.
Thank you. Sam, is there anything you'd like to ask?
Thank you, Chair. Just to clarify, because the police have put a 9 AM opening on your amended hours, is it 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where 9 AM came from. I think
Yeah,
it's gone off on their own little mission there. Just get that amended. So you guys are from the management company and you'll be bringing people in to run the premises,
yeah.
And you'll sort of just oversee.
Oversee,
right? Yeah. And you've listed Paul Cox as the designated premises supervisor.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's got quite a background in running.
Yeah.
And how are the premises now? Are they all sort of fitted out and ready to get up and running, or are you getting the licence and then you're going to start on that?
It's almost finished. It's on this, the final leg of getting finished. It's just bits and pieces need to put in place, and then it's going to open soon. Once that have been carried out, like the work and everything get tested and stuff like that, everybody come in and see everything.
That's what I was just leading on to, obviously, because environmental protection have put in quite a lot that they want to test first. So it was just to see if you were going to open as is and then have it tested, or they'll come in and check it before.
Good check.
Yeah. And just for everyone's benefit and to be boring, you probably already know, obviously, up until 11, the conditions that environmental protection have suggested don't apply because you've got an alcohol licence.
Right.
So as long as you don't have more than 500 people in the premises, which I wouldn't have thought you could, then they don't apply to that. So it's only after 11 until the premises shut that they'll apply. So I'll just play around with the wording, but it'll basically just be when you're providing whatever it is, live music, recorded music, background music, that sort of thing. So it won't change anything, it's just a boring legal thing from my perspective. But just so you know, and you know as well, that before 11, those conditions don't apply. Obviously the police ones do, but not in terms of those. I think, yeah, that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any further questions for the applicants? If not, then it's your opportunity to sum up. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us in summing up your application that you'd like us to take into account when we make a decision on this?
No, I was just going to say, just to you, not for the, thing, but just for you, that if you want to liaise with us, keep in contact, so, and you can put, some ideas forward or anything like that, that might, what you think might help other than times. Yeah.
Thank you. Could we have the options then, please, Jane?
You certainly can. Get back to where I need to be. Okay, so the options open to the committee this morning are to grant the premises licence in the terms requested, to grant the premises licence with conditions, or to reject the whole or part of the application. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I now ask you to leave the room with the licensing officer while we take legal advice and come to a decision? And if you want to wait, we'll invite you back in as soon as you've made that decision and tell you what it is. Problems arising from licensed establishments on London Road, that's quite clear. It's also clear that this establishment isn't open and therefore cannot be held responsible for those problems. So the decision this morning is to grant the licence, with the agreed conditions that you agreed with South Yorkshire Police and Environmental Protection, because there's no, we have to assume that you will run this business responsibly. We hope you do, and we hope it's a success. However, if they don't run the business responsibly, you could bring them back here the day after it opens to say there are issues, and we can relook at that licence, and we can put conditions on, we can change the hours, we can ask them to do certain things or not do certain things, or ultimately revoke the licence. We hope that's not necessary. We hope you establish a good dialogue and that there are issues you can talk them through, and that the establishment becomes a useful part of the community. But as I say, a licence isn't granted, doesn't have to stay in place forever. If it causes problems, then it can be brought back here and changed. And in the same way, I would say, if existing licensees in that area are causing issues, if you can evidence those, they can come back before the licensing authority, licensing committee, and we can take action to try and control those. So please think about that. And if you are getting disturbed every night in the summer by a particular establishment, then tell us about it, and we may be able to help with that. But we wish you every success. We hope it's a successful venture. We hope it enhances the area, and we hope that we don't see you back here at any time soon. So thank you both sides for your time and representations this morning, which have been really helpful to the decision. Thank you. I believe, I need to mention that our decisions are appealable, and our solicitor will detail the rights of appeal.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just to curtail everything and for the benefit of the webcast, given that the application's granted and that you objected to it, you have the right of appeal against this. So should you wish to, you can appeal the decision to Sheffield Magistrates Court. So following the hearing, you'll receive a notice setting out everything that was discussed, considered, and how members came to the decision. So that's within 3 weeks, 21 days to the Magistrates Court if you want to do that. Obviously, we do encourage the sort of dialogue as the chair set out between the premises, and I think you're quite open to that, and hopefully it's the start of a good working relationship. But I appreciate everyone's time this morning. Thank you for coming. All right, thank you.